Now you know why I stir my coffee with chopsticks. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee. The last of the Jack Daniels coffee. You don't have to get it on Amazon. You can get it at Walmart if your Walmart has it. Will I get it again? Yep, I will. It'll be a once a week coffee. It is not an everyday coffee, I don't think. Joe Rogan. Perfect proof that chasing TV and movie opportunities is a smaller-minded goal. No need to struggle anymore in an arena where others are making decisions about your life and you living with your fingers crossed, wishing and hoping, because I've always said wishing and hoping is not a strategy. And rolling the dice, auditioning, and hoping that you just might land the job. Take that from me, who spent 5 years of my life as a full-time actor. That was my income for 5 years of my life. During my 60 years on this earth, 5 years as a full-time actor. They were possibly the brokest years of my life, as far as just wondering where the next job was coming from. Yes, was I getting 3 and 4 gigs a month? Sure, I was doing pretty well. But it wasn't enough to thrive, because one month you could do well, next month you have nothing. How can you be a husband? How can you be a boyfriend? How can you be the leader of a household with income that goes like this? You need to get real. So if I have any actors watching this, forget moving to New York. Forget moving to LA. No one's going to find you. Stop it. Are you mentally ill? Stop it. Enough already with that. Maybe I'll get found. So you're in endless trailers. You work with endless independent films, working for lunch and a DVD. Enough already with that. Stop it. Get a life. Enough. Create your own opportunities. Stop waiting for someone to find you. Find yourself. In 2016, I tweeted, "Don't be surprised if there is a terrorist attack, a white cop shooting a black guy, or a celebrity death to take your attention off of Hillary. But wait, what if Hillary is the distraction from what's really going on?" That's next level conspiracy thinking if you think about it. Look past the chatter and the clutter, grasshopper, and you will see the truth. 4 years later, think about that tweet now, 4 years later. Don't be surprised if there's a terrorist attack, a white cop shooting a black guy, or a celebrity death to take your attention off of what? Think, grasshopper, think. A man's face always changes when he talks about two things, regrets and goals. When I talk about my goals, I talk about having an animal rescue and planting trees. That's what I want to do. And I want to show people how to do that. Part of my mentoring will be teaching people how to plant trees, how to care for animals. People will rehabilitate. People will find themselves. People will contemplate and have a devotional life with the Daybreak organization, the Daybreak Ranch. And be with me at the Daybreak studio. It's a beautiful thing. Those are my goals. Made me happy just talking about them. Now, my regrets. See, I went from a happy, bright face to a crappy face. Regrets. Let's talk about regrets. What are my regrets? I was a therapist for 22 years, and I've worked with people my entire life. Psychiatric clinics, outpatient clinics, prisons. I've done private, individual, one-to-one therapy. I've done group therapy. I conducted it for decades. So my background is in human behavior, and I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, countless success stories of helping people. And now I'm just helping people online. That's what I'm doing. That's where it has morphed to. So every time I talk a little bit about my history, I'm not being cathartic. I'm doing it as a lesson. This is not my therapy. I had that. I don't need it. Now, let's talk about my regrets. Yesterday, I posted things on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, check me out at George A. Bruno. And I posted pictures of my ex-wife. And I posted pictures of my wedding day back when I had black hair, short hair, and I looked different, 100% different. I don't even look the same. And why did I do that? My brother Tony was looking for, I don't know, receipts and paperwork in boxes, and he encountered a box of photographs. He took pictures of those photos and texted them to me, pictures that I haven't seen in over 20 years. I haven't seen those pictures in over 20 years. As a matter of fact, some of them I've never even seen. I don't even remember. I think I have one picture of my wedding day somewhere. And then he texted me these pictures. So it did evoke a little bit of something in me. It was interesting, and I posted them. And posted pictures of the ex-wife. And it brought up some feelings that was interesting. And I was kind of shocked at myself. I was like, it's almost like if I could step outside my body and look at myself and go, well, that's interesting. And it did bring an interesting series of thoughts through my head. It's a good thing I worked out after that, just to kind of work that. It wasn't quite anxiety, but it was a little bit of disruption. It was a little bit of disruption in there. And it actually felt good to do that, to post some old pictures. So for those who were wondering, who is that woman? That's my ex-wife. Both people in a marriage, in a relationship, practice loosening your grip on each other. Think about this. And a new relationship may emerge. Let me say that again. If both people practice loosening their grip on each other, a new relationship may emerge. There's a tactic you're not going to hear. Backing away. How's that? But not in a manipulative way. The biggest enemy to doing that is fear. What will happen if I loosen my grip? What will happen to my wife if I loosen my grip? Somebody will screw it up, and because it might mess up their schedule, they need to control, they don't trust. I will tell you, let it go. Let it go. Maybe you never should have got married. I don't know. People say, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. My response to that is, what makes you think God put it together? I know there are some people, and I believe there's some Christian guys who will come right out and say that they differ from me on this. I don't believe every marriage should be saved. I'd rather save a man than save a marriage. Trying to save a marriage can destroy a man, because it makes a man do things. Most men aren't willing to do what I counsel them to do in marriage counseling. They're not willing to do that. It's harder. It's harder to save a marriage than it is to save a man. Save yourself. And then if you're recently broken up or divorced, don't do anything to get your wife back. Get you back. That's your task. Get you back. Stop sending flowers. Stop the emails. Stop dropping things off. Stop reminiscing. Stop it. Stop it. Someone asked me, have you and your wife talked much? One guy said, did you have sex with your wife after you guys split up? And I thought that was interesting. I should find that exact question. And my exact answer was no. There was no sex. I was decisive. We were decisive. When we divorced, we divorced. We did not go back. We didn't have coffee and talk about things. We weren't friends. We weren't getting along for the kids' sake. When we were divorced, that was it. Literally, that was it. So when I see pictures of my wedding from decades ago, and I think about the divorce, the disruption is what brings the bad memories, not the divorce. The disruption does. I don't like my life to be disrupted, and I will do whatever it takes to stop any outside forces disrupting my life. Be a decisive man. Don't go back. Never circle back. Never circle back. So, if you married the wrong person and are now in a 7, 10, 20, 30 year or more rut, notice I'm calling it a rut, not a marriage. There's not much I can say. marry for all the wrong reasons and then beg God to fix it and then blame him because it doesn't magically improve because you waved the magic Jesus wand over it. Sometimes you have to sleep in the bed that you made. You know what it's called? The adult pill. Growing up. It's called consequences. Those are hard to swallow words, aren't they? Even that concept is just hard to grasp. It's difficult, especially if there's kids involved. Too many people die with their songs still in their heart. The healthiest people, spouses, will entice that song out of their spouse's heart, even if it means giving that person some time and space to do so. You don't let people do stuff. Man, your wife doesn't let you go out with the guys or let you go to that woodworking class. No more of that stuff. There's a reason why men have men caves and workshops and studios and offices. There's a reason why. And it's not always to produce things. Men will spend a ton of money building a workshop, and you would think it's going to be a manufacturing facility by the time they're done, with as beautiful as it is and with as much money as they spent. But it's not about that, unless you're starting a business. But what it's about is that man having space to create. And I think that's important in a marriage. There's only so much time you can just sit facing each other. Now, luckily, my wife-to-be will be a reading woman, a woman who loves reading and not TV. I've avoided women and ruled women out who watch TV, believe it or not. I vet for TV watching. I'm open to marriage, and one of the things that's a deal breaker for me is that she's a TV watcher. I don't want a woman that's influenced by society or programmed by modern thinking. Not interested in it. Show me a woman who watches reality shows. I will do the 100-yard dash faster than any human being, running away from her. Not interested in that. Deal breaker. Like, what are some other deal breakers that are just as strong? I'm not interested in a woman that smokes. Smoking, no good. I'm not interested in polyamory, a woman who wants an open relationship. No, thank you. I run from that stuff. My preference is not a tattooed, pierced woman. Not interested in that. I don't want to speak bad about that, although there are some statistics about that. But a woman that does drugs, not interested. I'm not interested in a woman with children. Just not interested in that. I have come to that conclusion that I'm not interested in that. But show me a woman who watches TV, I'm gone. I leave tire tracks in the driveway. There's a reason why a woman might want a kitchen to her liking, even if she is not a French chef. She might want the quintessentially equipped office, craft room, hobby lobby, or art studio. Why? Don't question it, my brother, if your wife wants that. Help her get it. You might end up with a happier wife. And I'm not saying happy wife, happy life. You know I'm not saying that. You know I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. If you loosen your grip, sometimes a new relationship will emerge. We just circled back to that theme. If a wife is choosing wild friends, could it be that she's living vicariously through them because she feels controlled? If a guy needs a night out, could it be that he's not allowed to be the man around his own home? Interesting questions. They would be good questions for group therapy or group counseling session of married men. What is with men that say, well, my wife let me do this, or I have to check with the boss first, or let me check with my better half? I understand the playfulness of this, and this is really huge with Christian men. But there is some truth to this on a deeper level. The healthiest relationships are the ones where nobody in that relationship is poo, see, whipped. Nobody. Husband or wife. It's an interactive, growing, dynamic relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a oneness. Otherwise, Think about it. You're just roommates on a similar track. Think about it. They have sex every now and then. And consider forbidden sex with other people every now and then. And learn how to become secretive and have a world in their phone. Shit, I just wish smartphones did not exist. If I get married, there will be no TV, so that's one good thing. That's not going to happen in my marriage. What if we both didn't have smartphones? What if we just had, like, what do you call those phones with, like, the big numbers? You know what I'm talking about? You see them on TV. What the heck are they called? Someone remind me. Put it down below. Where all you do is make calls. But it's hard to find a phone that doesn't have GPS and where you're not getting tracked and all that nonsense. But can you imagine not having any social media? What sucks for me is that my career, my money, my income is embedded in social media right now. And that kind of blows. What am I going to do? I have to separate somehow, some way. Yeah. First year of a marriage determines the direction of that marriage. That's why young couples need to be mentored and looked after. And you young guys and gals that just got married in the past year, you know who you are. You're watching. I know you are. I know you. Are you linked into an older couple? Men, young married men, are you linked into an older man who can give you some wisdom? Ladies, are you linked up with an older, wiser, experienced woman who's not a feminist, who's not going to tell you to pack your shit if things get rough? But I do believe that every couple needs guidance somehow, some way. When someone says to a man, your wife's a saint, what they're really saying is that you're a jerk. They just omitted the last part of the sentence, which is for putting up with you. She's a saint for putting up with you. Don't be a devil to your wife. Don't be the guy that's always antagonizing the crap out of your wife. And ladies, stop poking your man. Stop it. Stop calling him names. Stop calling him names. And if you have kids, don't even do it in front of the kids. Are you crazy? Do you think that colder weather and shorter daylight days contribute to weight gain? I always beef up a little bit every winter, which I view as kind of healthy, but sometimes it's more than I'm comfortable with. Last winter was the first winter that I didn't put on a lot of weight. Interesting, right? Because I was committed to working out and burning calories, although I was still eating stews and soups and chili and rich food in the winter. I think what happened to me, COVID was my winter, because I couldn't go to the gym and I made excuses. And I probably put on 10, 12, I think I put on about 13 pounds, if I'm not mistaken, during the COVID thing. Just enough to make me feel uncomfortable. I didn't like that. It's all off now, obviously. And that has to do with my activity level. Like this morning, I took a walk in the pouring rain. My legs are cold now. My legs are soaking wet, and my feet are soaking wet because it's pouring outside. And I decided to go out there. So as soon as I'm done with the Daybreak show, I need to change and put on dry clothes. But I felt good. I can't imagine a day without walking now. Up at 4 a.m. Last night I went to bed at 7 a.m. I look at my sleep tracker. I went to bed at 7 o'clock. My brother Tony Bruno, I think, did a live stream last night. I was supposed to join it at 8. I was gone. I went to bed at 7. Got up at 4. So that's why. Got up at 4:10. So I got 8 hours and 50 minutes of sleep. Man, I feel good. When I was walking, I'm like, I am not even a little bit tired. I'm wide awake. About 100 yards into that walk, 2 things went through my mind. I feel good. And the other thing was, I feel wet. I shouldn't be out here. Guess the tree. I was walking in Chestnut Hill, the nicest part of Philadelphia. If you want to know the nicest part of Philadelphia, it's Chestnut Hill. Do not go to anywhere else. It is a hole. Chestnut Hill is the nicest area. But I took a picture of this tree. Look at the leaves. Tell me what tree you think it is. I took a poll. I asked, should a woman change her last name when she gets married? 83.8% said yes, 4.9% said no, 11.3% said it depends. And there are some people that said, well, if your wife has a reputation with her original name and her business revolves around her original name, then she's not going to change it or hyphenate it. Hyphenating a name, in my mind, it's my opinion, is a clusterfuck. That's what I think. So I'm not a big hyphenator kind of guy. Ain't happening. But I do believe that a woman should change her last name when she marries you. I do believe that. But there are some exceptions. I think if a woman has created a life or a reputation around her name, maybe she can just make her name her brand, but literally change her name for real, in reality. But just keep the other name for her brand, but not keep it legally, like change it on her license, and marriage certificate and such. Just some thoughts on that. I'm not a die on that hill kind of person. 2020 is the year that men will look back and say, yeah, that was the year when every red pill guy overused the word simp. 2021, come quickly, please. If I had a king nickel every time I heard someone say or use the word simp, I'd be a millionaire by now. It's a good day. Do some high-intensity training this weekend. I'll be putting out some special videos, maybe some conversations that you're going to like over the weekend. Keep an eye on my channel. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you Monday morning on the Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.
Once upon a time, a prince asked a beautiful princess, "Will you marry me?" The princess said no. And the prince lived happily ever after. And he rode motorcycles and fucked skinny, big-titted broads and hunted and fished whenever the fuck he wanted, and went to naked bars and dated women half his age and drank whiskey, beer, and Captain Morgan and snorted cocaine off strippers' asses and never heard bitching and never paid child support or alimony and ate pussies and ass-fucked cheerleaders and kept his house and guns and never got cheated on while he was at work, and all his friends and family thought he was fucking cool as hell and he had tons of money in the bank, and he left the toilet seat up. The end.